One Piece, Chapter 17, High Level, Low Level. Alright, I'm better prepared this time. I was able to calm myself a little bit before I got on here because this was another pretty action-packed, hyperactive one. But at any rate, brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation, Jim's Nerd Nation, thank you for joining again. I, of course, am Jim, reviewing the epic tale of One Piece currently. And we will be handling today, in this one, the Chapter 17 finale, I guess, the ending of Volume 2. If you remember and you watched my previous reviews, then, hey, great job. If you didn't, after you're done with this one, go right ahead and watch them, because I've been doing them chapter by chapter. Okay. But at any rate, Chapter 16 was action-packed, start to finish, and we wind up seeing Zoro and, of course, some of his traits at the end of it. Yeah, he was fighting Cabaji, the acrobat, who's another swordsman and trickster, of course, of the second mate, actually, of Buggy the Clown's crew. So, at the end of last chapter, Zoro wound up actually wounding himself, cutting himself, and pretty much to bring himself to a lower level. Number one, to taunt Cabaji, but number two, to basically say, hey, listen, I can take you out even when I'm wounded. So that's how the chapter starts out, ultimately. Cabaji, is kind of like offended, and he's like, hey, listen, whatever, you know what, you're not going to beat me. So, and he says, listen, and Zoro says, I wounded myself, so, because if I can't lose even one battle, even one sword battle, if I ever want to be the greatest swordsman that ever lived, and I certainly cannot lose a battle with these minor of wounds. How am I going to be able to press on when there's real competition? And that's basically what he's saying to Cabaji. So Cabaji then basically shrugs it off and just says, you know what, it'll make it even better. At least you'll have an excuse then for when I defeat you. So once I defeat you, you'll be able to talk some shit and say, well, it's because I was wounded. I mean, you know how that one is. It's always like, well, the only reason he got the best of me, I was kind of sick and I didn't see it coming. And everybody has a reasoning for things, or an excuse, as I call them. But nonetheless, we wind up going in. I mean, this chapter, again, was action-packed. It's just a continuation of what was happening in the last chapter. Captain Buggy and Zoro, Captain Buggy and Luffy, I'm sorry, just kind of looking on at the battle that's transpiring. And Nami goes, and very early on in the chapter, she pulls Luffy to the side and says, hey, listen, here's the deal, okay? I'm going to go sneak around this shack that's still standing around back behind where the tavern was. That's where they keep the treasure. I'm going to snake the treasure, okay? If you want to have any hope of me joining your crew or being your navigator or whatever, what I need you to do is grab the map of the Grand Line, which is on Buggy. So, if you want to do that, that's great, but basically I'm going to go do this, do whatever it is that you may. So Luffy says, okay, great, I'll take care of it, and, I'm presuming that they'll meet up later, right? So it winds up going back and cutting back to Cabaji and Zoro, and Cabaji goes and he says, now I'm going to use all my, circus moves on you or whatever. So I wrote down a few of them, actually, because I thought they were kind of comical. He winds up using Dance of 100 Kamikaze Tops, and then he uses a hike in the mountains. After that, he uses Fireworks in the Cool Summer Breeze, which I thought was a nice one. I'd actually like to name something of mine that, too. Fireworks in the Cool Summer Breeze. The other one is, what is the other one? That's something of the Sting of the Unicycle. That was another one. And then he's got, just throwing out all these different moves that he's using one after another. And they're basically all kind of shady tactics as far as I'm concerned, but you know what I mean? He could be using, I deep throat swords and then pull them out of my anus. I mean, it doesn't matter what the move is. Personally, I have a little more faith in Zoro. And so at any rate, though, then what happens is all of a sudden you go and it cuts to a picture of Buggy, and Buggy goes and shoots his hand out, and he says, low flying chop chop cannon, And he says, I'll hold him down, Cabaji. You finish him off, right? Well, Luffy winds up intercepting the hand in midair and stomps on that fucker, and the captain cries out in pain or whatever, and Luffy says, you're going to stay out of this fight, And like I said, I respect that, and I respect that about him. He let Zoro fight earlier, even though he didn't think he was fit to do so, but he was going to let it play out to at least a certain point. We don't know what that point is or how far he'd let it go, but he has enough respect for his friend and confidence in him that he is, in fact, going to be okay. but he's also going to make sure that nobody else, sways the outcome one way or another. So I definitely, that shows the type of person that he is and the type of person that Buggy is. He's going to use any type of underhanded trick he can to win, right? Because he knows now that he's bit off more than he can chew. So Zoro looks like he's going to kind of cower and basically just says, I'm tired. I'm just tired, And so Cabaji thinks that he's saying like he's tired, just tired of fighting. And I think that's what he says. I'm tired of fighting. I forget the exact words. And Cabaji says, oh, you must be tired and this and that, and I'll just finish you off quickly or whatever, And Zoro goes and just flips out and he says, I am tired of listening to your bullshit and dealing with all of your, no more of these parlor tricks and this nonsense, your circus trick nonsense or whatever. And he just goes ballistic, batshit crazy, man. He's got all three swords out, and it's a real cool panel. Like I explained in the last review, the art style has changed slightly, and I don't know if it's just that there is someone else that was doing some work. It looks slightly more shaded, and it looks like there is... This looks like there's a little more detail that's in there with the shading, so I don't know if Oda at this point started using, some help or some assistance, maybe like of an inker or somebody, to kind of digitally, be able to help with some of the shading. But it definitely looks a little bit sharper in the last couple of chapters, and I can certainly appreciate that as a aspiring artist myself. So, but at any rate, the chapter winds up going, and you wind up seeing. I'm sorry, I left you guys hanging there. So. Zoro winds up going and on this big full-page panel spread, just basically he's got his swords out. He's just coming, Chuck Norris style at Cabaji. And he pretty much just runs him through, man. Just runs right through him, and you just kind of see, and Cabaji blood spurts out of him. He hits the ground. He's done. He's probably very severely wounded, if not dead. And so Captain Buggy is like, I can't believe you guys, and this and that, blah, blah. And he's talking to Luffy now, And Luffy says, just give me the map of the Grand Line, and he says, that's what you want, that's what you're after, is my map of the Grand Line, and Luffy says, well, yeah, I'm going to be the king of the pirates, so Buggy starts laughing at him like everybody has up until this point. It's a lofty goal, to be sure. It's the golden age of piracy, and here's this kid with a straw hat that wants to be the king of the pirates. And he says, well, what does that make me then? God of the pirates? Emperor of the pirates, right? You're nothing, So he tells him that. He says, I'm not dealing with you. What are you talking about? I'm going to go find he's going to find the ultimate treasure, the One Piece, and he's going to, be the king of the pirates. That's what Buggy says, So anyway, Luffy then basically just says, okay, well, let me just kick your ass and get this over with, and I'll beat you and just take it from you, So anyway, he goes and says, something about how, you got a lot of spunk, kid, or you got a lot of spunk, and you remind me of him when he was younger. He says, that red-haired pirate. So it ends on a cliffhanger right there, but we can only assume that he's talking about Buccaneer red-haired Shanks, and that this is going to circle back around into getting some information about him. So it leaves us on a bit of a cliffhanger. This is the one thing that's nice about there being 700 plus chapters out there already, is that as fast as I can read and record these reviews for you guys, certainly I can pick up the next volume, which I have up here right above me on my bookshelf, and I can see what happens, but was left off on a real nice note. So tell me what you guys think. I did a couple of videos ago. I included, I think in chapter 13 or 14, I put a picture that I think turned out pretty good of Buggy the Clown. I used a picture in the One Piece in the volume 2 here as reference, but because my manga style is not quite refined yet, I took the picture and I just kind of did it in more of a traditional comic book style. So I did add a little more of the detail and the shading that I would do as a comic book artist, only because I'm trying to evolve and kind of create my own style. So let me know what you think. Hope everybody enjoys it. And we're going to start doing some contests and giveaways pretty soon here. And this weekend I'm going to try, like hell, to record a couple of wrap-ups, for Volume 1 and Volume 2. So thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for joining the nation. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And we will catch you guys in the next one, which will be Chapter 18. And it will be the beginning of Volume 3. So take it easy, everyone in the Nerd Nation. Well, brothers and sisters, we've come to the end of another epic volume, only the second, so there's many more to come. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and check out some of the previous chapters to catch up if you haven't. We'll catch you in the next one.